Let's bring in our guest for today, our first guest for today, former Integrated Bar of the Philippines, or IBP President Domingo Igon Cayosa. Sir, Attorney, magandang hapon and welcome back to Storycon.
Magandang hapon, Attorney.
Good afternoon, magandang hapon sa ating mga kababayan.
Yes, sir. Sir, we ask our producers kasi to bring in a legal expert because there seems to be what might be a controversial ordinance in Manila, and we saw the effect yesterday, and we don't know what will be the effect in the future. It's ordinance number 9134, banning the use of balaclavas or ski masks, helmets, face masks, caps. Teka sir, basahin ko lang para sureball tayo. I have the ordinance right in front of me. The Anti-Balaclava and Other Face-Covering Ordinance of the City of Manila. Prohibited Acts, Section 4, unlawful for any person in the territory of Manila to wear a motorcycle helmet or any face-concealing headgear that will conceal their facial features, such as bonnets, ski masks, bandanas, handkerchiefs, caps, hats, hoodies, and the like. Whenever entering commercial, government, and public establishments, okay, that's one. Whenever the rider or passenger alights within 3 meters from a motorcycle, that's another one. Or while waiting, buying from store, market, transacting ATM, or the like. Or when the rider is within 3 meters away or in standby mode from the motorcycle along public roads, highways, subdivision roads, alleys, sidewalks, easements, shoulders. In other words, all public places. In effect, bawal po lahat ng ito in private and public places. I understand the argument is that it's a safety consideration dahil if you hide your identity, then it's harder for the police to catch perpetrators. On the other hand, there are those who are saying that doesn't that cross into certain freedoms and certain rights that people should be allowed to have? Although there are also exemptions. Exception, for example, yung religious aspect. For example, yung mga Muslim, di ba? Minsan sila nakanikab, yung nakaganon lang, yung mga babae. So that's an exemption. But other than that, pag meron kang sakit, accepted din yun. Meron kang transmissible diseases, and so on down the line. But other than that, in general, bawal. What are your thoughts, sir?
And it's always a contest between the police power, the power of the state to protect public interest and the laws, vis-a-vis the civil liberties or the freedoms of the citizen. So in this case, kung questionin ito, at malamang questionin ito, meron ng isang grupo nagsasabing they will bring it to the court. No? Mm-hmm. And that's the proper way of testing it, because in the past, meron na ring mga similar ordinances where the courts, the Supreme Court, ruled in different ways. No? In-apply sa ibang syudad kasi mas reasonable yung ordinance. Sa iba, they declared them invalid. So it's always a balancing of these two factors. No? Individual rights vis-a-vis the power and the duty of the state to protect public interest. Now, depende yan dun sa gagamiting test. No? Kung ang gagamitin, for example, and there are about 4 general tests being used by the Supreme Court and the courts to determine whether or not itong restriction on individual liberties is not unconstitutional. Diba? So kung ang gagamitin nila yung clear and present danger rule, which is one of the most strict, mukhang hindi ito papasa. Sapagkat yan yung na dapat there is a clear and present danger of a substantive evil that the city has a right to prevent. So hindi naman malinaw at kaagad-agad na related yung criminality dun sa paggagamit ng helmet, balaclava, mga mask at iba pa, no? Kung
sir, pati caps pati caps and hats are included in the ordinance.
Tsaka attorney, pwede ba ito na parang nasa level lamang ng city ordinance, civil liberties ito eh. Pwede bang galing ako ng Quezon City, kailangan alam ko yung border between Quezon City and Manila para pagpasok ko ay susunod na ako doon sa kanilang city ordinance, no? Yung mga ganun ba?
That's a very good point. As a matter of fact, magagamit yan ng mga petitioners, yung mga tumutulig sa dito, saying it's unconstitutional. Kasi nga, it might not be a reasonable means. Kasi paano naman, rider ka, hanap buhay mo yan, nagmamadali ka. Pagdating sa rotonda, hihinto ka, tapos tatanggalin mo yung helmet mo, tatanggalin mo yung mga scarf mo para hindi masyadong masunog ang iyong mukha, katawan, di ba? So, it might not be a reasonable means. Ano yung, hindi nga yung, hindi nga yung preventing crime. It's just to identify kung if ever a crime has been committed. So, yung purpose, legitimate, but the means might not be reasonable. Ito yung tinatawag na rational basis test. Ito na yung pinaka-liberal. Mukhang sumasablay doon eh. Kasi nga, number one, doon sa exception, sabi nila, kung may sakit ka, pwede mag-mask ka. Precisely, yung karamihan, nagmamask para hindi magkasakit. So, mahirap yung ganon, di ba? And ano yung boundary between a government, public place, and a private place, di ba? And then, sasabihin, pagkababa mo sa motorsiklo mo within 3 meters, dapat wala na yan. Hindi naman ganon kabilis matanggal yung mga balaklava at mga ibang mga mask na ginagamit ng karamihan sa ating mga riders. So, all of these difficulties, these impracticalities, might just convince the court na mukhang legit yung purpose, but this is not the best way of doing it. Yung a campaign against criminality is a very legitimate state objective, no? Obligation, as a matter of fact. Pero yung pamamaraan dito, mukhang hindi, parang shotgun approach, di ba? At hindi pa naman na ipapakita, I don't know if they have statistics, no? Mukhang ito nangyari lang nung nakaraang Menjola kaguluhan, di ba? Yung unang rally.
Kaya bago lang ito eh.
Oo. So meron bang statistics na nagsasabi na karamihan mga nang-hold up o nanggugulo, yung mga naka-helmet, naka-balaklava. So absent that, baka nga lang strike down ito ng korte na an unconstitutional means to achieve a legitimate government purpose.
Ang pagiging senior ba, severe illness? Halimbawa, ayaw ko mahawa sa mga sakit. Magsusuot ako ng mask kahit saan ako pumunta. Hindi kasama doon sa requirements.
Comorbidity.
Oo.
Precisely, that's the logic about this mask, di ba? To avoid, yung sa exception nila, dapat magkasakit ka muna, saka ka magmaskara. Mukhang hindi realidad. It's not reasonable. So baka lang, even the most liberal test, the rational basis test na ginagamit ng korte, baka hindi papasa ito. We will see. We don't prejudge. Depende rin siguro yan sa timplada ng mga hukom, mga justices of the Supreme Court eventually. And of course, the evidence and the arguments presented by both sides.
Tsaka sir, I do recall, ito sa Mandaluyong dati, there was an ordinance before in Mandaluyong na bawal yung dalawang lalaking magkaangkas sa motorsiklo pag hindi kayo magkamag-anak to a certain degree. Ang dahilan daw to prevent yung riding in tandem na mga barilan. I think it was eventually struck down by the Supreme Court na parang, teka. Pagbabawal niyo dalawang lalaking sumakay dahil lang sa riding in tandem danger, parang that's an overreach.
Bawal din kaya yung mukhang hold-upper o yung mukhang magnanakaw? No? Bawal din kaya yun?
So may mga ganun sir, di ba? May mga ganun may mga ganun minsan na I suppose it's the easy way out. It's the easy way of solving certain immediate problems like riding in tandem o yung mga nagra-riot na nakabonet.
Paano kung yung riding in tandem katulad ng tokhang ay mga pulis mismo? Hulihin ba nila yung sarili nila?
Hindi lamang yun. Halimbawa, dito lang sa mga, sabi ng mga protesta, yung mga kabataan na creatively magmamaskara o maggagamit na helmet na buhaya. Kasi they are depicting yung mga buhayang congressman, mga kurakot sa gobyerno, mga abusado. Di ba, hindi makikita ang mukha nila. But that's freedom of expression. So ano yun? Uhuliin sila? So these are all the practical things pa na maaring gamitin nung mga grupong magka-question dito.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the Supreme Court will also draw from the experiences of the past, jurisprudence of the past. At baka nga titimbangin nila ito. Yung, parang ano kasi ito kung minsan yung bang shooting from the hips.
Yeah.
Yung bang shotgun approach. Ang talagang main purpose nito, sinasabi nila, para daw kung may mangyayaring krimen,
identifiable.
Madaling makita. Kahit naman makita kung tatamad-tamad yung pulis, di ba? O kaya yung hindi siniseryoso ang trabaho, di wala rin mahuhuli. So, that might not be the best way to identify yung mga potential criminals. And if they look at the statistics, ilan ba talaga, ilang percent ba yung mga kriminal na naka-helmet o kaya naka-mask? Baka wala pa sa 1% yan. Diba? So, statistics, data would definitely be very important to show whether or not it's a reasonable ordinance for that purpose of quickly identifying possible criminals.
Although, sir, at the same time, I suppose, sir, but tell me if I'm right here kasi hindi mo ako abogado if it's a private building or establishment, as the owner, you would have naman the right to require tanggalin ng helmet o tanggalin ng balaklava pagpapasok sa building mo kasi private property yun.
Correct. Tama yan. But that depends on the owner. Because private property nga, so you have control kung sino gusto mong papasukin. Pati yung mall, halimbawa. Pwede, they don't need an ordinance to do that. If it's one of their requirements. Ano kasi yan it's a business transaction, di ba?
Yeah.
Private property. Iba ho kasi yung gobyerno. Kasi ang gobyerno kahit nasaan ka, ito nga, public space sa mga government buildings. Halimbawa, hospital na lang, di ba? Lahat tayo, pag pumapasok sa hospital, pinapamas tayo ng ating mga doktor, pati na yung hospital. Hindi wala naman tayong sakit, di ba? Pero for precautionary purpose. Anong ibig sabihin? Lahat ng hospital sa Manila, pagpasok mo sa hospital nila, hindi ka pwede ka nang kasuhan kasi nakamaska, ayaw mong tanggalin. So,
that's a good point.
These mga nuances will be brought to light pag i-question yan sa korte.
Actually, sir, naging issue to kahapon May 3 dinampot na social media reporters sila. Nabalita mo ba yun? Nakita mo yung mga picture?
Hindi.
Social media reporters daw sila ng isang website. Nakabalaklava, pero yung bulletproof vest na may plato. Well, at least mukhang may plato. Walang plato talaga laman. Tapos may Kevlar na helmet.
Parang yun ang kanilang cosplay.
Ito. Yan.
Parang cosplay nila yan, di ba?
Yan.
Kasama sa gimmick nila para sa rally.
Dinampot sila ng mga pulis kasi nakabalaklava sila.
Anong kasong sinampa sa kanila?
Pinakawalan din naman question lang sila, in-interrogate tapos pinakawalan din. Although, overkill talaga sila kasi mukha silang pupunta sa gera.
So, kung tayo nagsuot nun?
Kung ikaw nagsuot nun, talagang dampot ka. Kung ako siguro, palalagbasin ako.
Ba't biased? Kung si Manny Mugato?
Kung si Manny Mugato, si Mugs tulog yun. So, yun ang pinagmulan. Although, siyempre, yung kaso nga medyo extreme yan kasi parang nag-overkill naman itong mga to sa pagsusuot ng kung ano-ano na parang pupunta ng Ukraine. But it's also the right to basta hindi walang violation, it's also the right to
minsan kasi may feeling ka di ba? Feeling warrior ka or feeling papunta ka sa gera, di ba?
Keyboard warrior, di ba?
Pero
Teka, attorney, dako ko ng medyo iba naman konti. Kasi, of course, we had yesterday itong mga major rallies. And some groups were calling for ipakulong, restitution. Other groups were calling for resignations across the board. For example, I understand yung Bago Alyansa Makabayan, they were calling for resignation of major officials, and then transition council. Tell us about the legalities of this. How far can you go before it becomes illegal to call for, if at all, to call for resignations? Or it's not illegal to call for resignations? Kasi I noticed sa Constitution, pwede mag-resign ng presidente sa vice-presidente.
Well, kung panawagan lang para mag-resign presidente, vice-presidente, o yung mga sangkot sa anomalya o kakurakutan, wala namang limit yan. That's perfectly within your freedom of expression.
To call?
Oh, freedom to seek redress for grievances. Kung sa tingin mo, corrupt itong dalawang ito, o silang lahat, edi tama lang na pa-resignin mo sila. So there's nothing wrong with that. Magiging illegal lang yan if it will cross the line of, for example, inciting to sedition or inciting to coup d'etat. Meron kasi tayong provision sa ating revised penal code that punishes crimes against security of the state. Yun nga, inciting to sedition. Yung bang manawagan ka, udyukan mo ang mga taumbayan o certain group para i-overthrow ang government o kaya i-prevent ang pag-function ng isang agency o isang public official o manira ng mga government properties or private properties. So, that is inciting to sedition. Ito pag-resign, hindi ho naman. So, overkill din ulit kung iti-threaten ng DOJ o sino man o kapulisan yung mga nagpaparesign sa mga matataas na opisyal ng gobyerno. There's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly within the rights. Ang mahirap na kung sasabihin, magkaroon tayo ng reset, withdrawal of support, o kaya military, civilian junta, wala na yan sa konstitusyon.
Paano, attorney? Paano kung attorney?
The legal rule or constitutional process of succession. So, if they act on that, they are serious about it, and they do acts to make sure or to push it towards fruition, then it could be inciting to coup d'etat or inciting to sedition.
Paano, attorney, kung asking the military to force the president and the vice president to resign?
Well, if you use force or any illegal means para pa-resign sila, that might already be within the purview of inciting to sedition. Kasi nga, yung sedition, yung tumultos, yung magulo. So yung puwersa, depends on what you call puwersahin, di ba? Halimbawa, manawagan yung mga kapulisan o yung mga opisyal o yung kawani ng ako rin naniniwala, sangkot mga ito sa mag-resign na rin kayo, walang problema yung gano'n. But, as an institution or as a unit, to do that, you might be crossing already into the realm of criminal liability.
What if certain groups propose transitional councils or transition governments? I mean, it's not the first time. Kasi, for example, one was EDSA. There were some people who were doing that. Also, EDSA DOS, there were also other people who were doing that. Of course, on the other hand naman, meron namang mga nag-push na talagang constitutional succession. So what if certain people call for resignations and then take over by a council?
But if they're just proposals or options, yung mga academic discussion, ito mas maganda ito, mas efficient, kasi yung wala namang problema yan. If you're just presenting options, it's just an opinion. Wala ka namang gagawin to set that up or fund it o kaya support it with illegal means or violence or yung magulong pag-aalsa, hindi naman yan sedition or inciting to sedition. Kung proposal, ideas lang yan. Anybody is free to express his idea, even if it's wrong, even if it's foolish. They have to respect that. That's the essence of freedom of expression. Even if it doesn't jive into our own sense of what should be done, okay lang yun. Lahat ng mamamayan merong karapatan maghayag ng kanyang sa loobin at kanyang puro-puro.
Ang trigger lamang ay kailan po? When is it when do you have a trigger that makes it inciting to sedition?
A trigger that you cross the line when you ask and you encourage and you support people to do illegal acts to topple the government, prevent government from functioning, or a government official from functioning, destroying government property or private property para magulo for political ends, para magkaroon ng change in leadership or government. Yun, illegal na yun. Crimen na yun.
Okay.
Minsan, attorney, may thin line between asking the president or the vice president to resign and forcing them to resign. Minsan may thin line yan.
Oh, of course. But yung kung rally lang ng rally tayo at finally, sila ay makikinig o tatalima, edi very good, wala tayong problema. Yung forcing to resign kasi yan, short of, storming the palace at huliin siya at bibitayin siya o kaya bubugin hindi mag-resign, mga ganyan, that would of course be illegal kasi violence ang ginagamit. But yung panawagan lang in any other form, hindi yan krimen. Pati nga yung pagsunog ng mga effigies, di ba? Yung mga paghahawak ng mga very creative posters, di ba? Yung diretsaheng pagmumura sa kanila, walang problema yon. We have to respect that, and we have to defend the right of everyone, even if you don't agree with them, to express their sentiments. So yung thin line na ganyan, of course, government will try to say there's a thin line, parang siguro to temper yung gagawin ng taong bayan. But as long as there's no violence, walang kaguluhan, okay lang po yan.
Sabi nga sa Revised Penal Code, public and tumultuous. Those are two keywords dun sa sedition. Okay. Maraming salamat for joining us this afternoon, former IBB National President Domingo Igon Cayosa.